foundation on our hearts so you guys can get to know us and what we can offer and kind of what we're doing here, what we're all about. So, first of all, the church and kingdom are not synonymous. The kingdom of God is not confined to a temple or a church, because we know it's in us. All right? Jesus says you can't see it with your careful observation. It's not here or there, but it's in you. So the kingdom is meant to inhabit the entire earth, not in a building, right, but in the hearts of men. And so that's kind of the foundation that we want to impart here. The kingdom of God, we influence nations. We disciple nations. That's our mandate. Go make disciples of individuals? No. Nations. So that's our heart, and we start somewhere. We start in our community. We start in our neighborhood. We start somewhere. So that's the cry of my heart and how it's been, because I've been seeking God. God, what's our original mandate? What's the bottom line here? What are we supposed to be doing and being? Who are we supposed to be being? And so we're supposed to disciple nations. And we will give an account for our mandate. And that's one of them. And so therefore, we are not trying to build a church here. That's not my goal. And I think that's why God's having us do what we're doing. Because I don't want to build a church. I don't want to put money into a building. We don't need overhead. We don't need anything like that. But we want to keep it pure, and how the disciples operated in the first church. And that's all of our hearts here. I'm just kind of the spokesperson right now. But we've all come together, and this is our heart's desire. And we want to change our community. The nations are our inheritance. This is, ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance. This is what God is saying. So it is our right for the nations to be our inheritance. And then Jesus just instructed us, go and make disciples of all nations. The apostles were world changers. Acts says they turned their world upside down. And that's what we're here to do, to infect people with the kingdom of God, because it's in us. So wherever we go, we're bringing it with us. And so that's our goal, not to build something here. And it's not about us, but Lord, what's on your heart and your agenda for Southwest Florida, for Naples, for our communities, in our giftings? Keith, in his area of giftings, who do you impact? Matthew, Kendall, Callie, Nancy, all of us, for their area of giftings, that's when we have dominion. And that's when we operate with our leadership and our giftings, and people will be attracted to that dominion in you, because the world doesn't have it. God will hold us responsible for nations. We are called to the world to restore the kingdom of God, because that's what we lost. And the world, it's ripe. The harvest is ripe, and they're looking for the kingdom, which is what we lost. Not a religion. We didn't lose heaven. We didn't fall out of heaven, but we lost the kingdom of God, dominion here and now. Some people believe that if they work in the nursery or sing in the choir, that they're fulfilling their area of ministry. But this is just housekeeping in the house of God. That's not your true ministry. Your ministry is out in the world in your area of gifting. So that's our heart, to empower you in your area of gifting, in your area of leadership, out in the world where you are. So it's not about us, what we're doing in here. Our focus isn't in here, but it's out there. And so ministry is what you do to bring your life and your sphere of influence under kingdom rule. And that's the objective. Then the end will come. Once we get the program on the road and this gospel of the kingdom is preached into the whole world, then the end will come. So it's up to us. Finally, church has never been the focus of the Great Commission, although it has always been the most important tool to carry it out. So we cannot get that confused. Okay? So therefore, church is the primary vehicle God uses to train people, to have us come together like-minded in unity, so we know how to find our promised land, our area of giftings, our area of domain out there. Gretchen's out in the education. She's out in the school system. That's her area that she has dominion in. And so we want to empower her and all of you in your areas, your promised land, your area of gifting, your domain, and we will rule the nation with the kingdom of God principles. 1 Timothy 3:15 calls the church the pillar and the foundation of truth. It upholds the kingdom, being a school, the equipping place, the place for support for world changers. And that's what we are. We are nation changers. So that's the objective. I just wanted to make it very clear, the vision. We're not trying to build our own kingdom, our own agenda. Our hearts are pure before God. We want His heart, what is on His mind for our community. And all of you are an integral piece of that puzzle. And so when we come together, we'll encourage. We want to make this very interactive, and so we can really give you what you need. And as we learn and grow in this process and seek God's heart, okay, what's the next step in this area? So we just want to start out by training. We'll be listening to Pastor Miles' videos. And we're going to start with 101 Kingdom. And that's the foundation of everything that we do. If we don't understand how our government operates, how can we expect to benefit from it or understand the components of it or train and teach others once they see it operating in our lives? Therefore, we're going to come together to train, equip, and into the world to bring the powerful kingdom principles to the problems of our community and society. Our focus will remain outside, not inside. We have the answers, the solutions to the world's problems. So when we come together, it brings strength and unity and one-mindedness. And they had that, the three cord will not be easily broken. And there's strength in that when we come together. And we all are like-minded. We're truth seekers after the kingdom of God. And so that's all we want to offer you is the kingdom of God, the truth, and the only thing Jesus spoke about. That was it, period. To recap, kingdom principles. The church fulfills its mandate when it changes society, not when it is confined to a sanctuary and Sunday school classrooms.
Yes.
This isolation of the church from the world has led to ineffectiveness and failure to carry out the Great Commission, to go out into the world and not isolate ourselves, because we know ecclesia is called out ones. And sometimes people think, oh, we're called out, we separate ourselves. We are not conformed to this world. And we don't look like the world. But it doesn't say separate yourself from the world, because how else can we affect them if we're not part and in the society with them? The Great Commission mandate is to go out and disciple nations. That's our objective. It's a big objective. But that's what the last thing Jesus told us to do. And we will be very mindful of this. If we start somewhere, we start in our community. Ministry is what you do to bring your life and your sphere of influence under kingdom rule. We are all not called to huddle inside the church sanctuary, but to restore the kingdom of God in the world. And God holds the church responsible for societies, for our communities, for the nation. The church is to be the training ground for the people who will impact society around them. Kingdom ambassadors are world changers. We are kingdom ambassadors. That's what Jesus called us. We are sons and daughters of God. So that's our objective. In a nutshell, that's where our heart is. And I just want to make it very clear where we're coming from, that we're all on board with the mandate that Jesus gave us to go out and impact this world. So that's the program. And Matthew, you can stop recording now. Thank you very much. I'll be putting